Hi, I'm Justin Fraterelli, and you're watching Tennis Ninja TV.
Aloha, tennis fans. Welcome once again to Tennis Ninja TV. I'm your host, Shane Cashin. You know me as the Tennis Ninja already. And guys, like I've been saying before, hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notifications button to see my videos. When you support us, guys, you are supporting tennis. Also, check us out at tennisninjahawaii.com. We've got our website up. Again, I'm officially a millennial. I'm learning how to work this thing. But guys, check us out online. We got hats, shirts, all kinds of cool stuff, as well as our videos, photos, and whatever else you can find on social media. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. But guys, enough about me today. It's about our guests. And like I said before, Punahou fans, if you are out there, this video's for you. Guys, I have a guest who is the head director of Punahou School tennis program out there. He has won multiple Kailua men's night doubles championships. He has even played in the pros. Guys, say aloha to Ikaika Jobe. Ikaika, welcome to the show.
Hey, Shane. Pleasure to be here. Honored to be here with the Tennis Ninja of Hawaii.
Oh, gosh, that means the world to me, man. How have you been, bro? What have you been up to in your downtime? The island wants to know.
I've been good, Shane. I wish we could be all playing a little bit more tennis, but hopefully people are doing that now. But yeah, I probably did a lot of the same things other people did. Take some online classes here and there, learn how to do new things. But, just glad to be safe and healthy right now.
I've heard, too, you've been having a couple of kids along the way as well, huh?
Yeah, actually, my wife is pregnant with boy-girl twins. So, we're really looking forward to that new adventure in our lives and perhaps a future mixed doubles team.
Oh, there we go. We'll see the Jobes playing the Federers maybe down the road. That'd be really cool. You've had such an incredible history when it comes to tennis in Hawaii. But, we're all kind of curious on the story of where any of these players come from. Where did Ikaika Jobe first begin his journey with tennis? What inspired you, Ikaika, to pick up the racket in the first place?
Yeah, good question. It was actually my parents. My parents played tennis. They had met, I think, playing racquetball, transitioned to the sport, and they inspired me initially to take up the game. And I had some success growing up, and I think my first tennis lesson was at Waialae Country Club with the Somervilles. So that was a great experience. And probably my favorite player growing up was Andre Agassi. So I used to wear his outfits all the time. So actually at this last US Open, it was great to see the old Andre Agassi outfits back in youth.
That's right. A lot of players, I'm realizing, their parents actually kind of helped them get in the game in the first place. Your dad or your mom, who played exactly?
Well, they both took it up later in life, and I think my mom played more competitively around the islands, and I think she got up to a rating of a 5.0. She was a southpaw lefty player. So yeah, I grew up. I remember even watching her play tournaments at Punahou. So that was a good inspiration as well. My dad was more the driving force, but I guess drew more inspiration from my mom's playing.
You've had an illustrious career, but I kind of want to start in the juniors because we all were there at one point. Take us back to the junior days when you used to play, Ikaika, and maybe not only what motivated you to start playing really competitively, but take us through some memories that you still treasure from those days growing up.
Oh yeah, lots of great memories. And I actually remember my first tournament was at the Moanalua Bay Club, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but I love that place. I lost first round. And then I think my next tournament, I remember it was at Punahou School, Punahou Novice tournament. And I ended up, winning that one. So I went from being really discouraged, losing first round, first tournament ever. And then, really encouraged by how well I did at the Punahou event. And yeah, those were the early memories, and, kept playing on the local circuit, had success, tried to stay at the top as much as I could. My aim was to make zonals. There's that zonal competition. It's a team competition of 5 players on each team against the different sections from around the U.S. So got to do that for a week. So I always wanted to be top 5. And for the most part, I was able to do that. And in the later years, I was able to, stay at number 1 for a while. And it was really fun to travel to the outer islands, hang out with friends, and just be in that competitive atmosphere.
Gosh, Ikaika, what an experience that already has been for you coming up in the juniors in Hawaii. And, you were one of the few very fortunate to go up to the mainland and start competing nationally with these guys up across the pond. Ikaika, do you remember kind of what it was like to play against those competitors in particular on U.S. mainland soil?
Yeah, I do remember. And it was quite I guess I would say somewhat of a scary experience at first, because you didn't know what to expect. And just as a kid growing up in Hawaii, you kind of think, oh, everyone's so good out there in the mainland. I got out there and yeah, sure enough, they are good, but there's a lot of people at your level too, and even lower level. So it was just a good indicator. When I went up, my first experience was in the 12 and under zonal team tournament. So it was a good indicator to see where you stood in the national scheme of things, coming from the small pond to the big pond.
Lots of going on in your junior life early on, which eventually prepared you to dub the Buff and Blue and get out there on the courts at Punahou and represent your high school, playing for the varsity tennis team. Ikaika, what was that like, playing for the Buff and Blue back in the day in your high school years? And even playing alongside, people that are super well-known today, including the very famous Mike Mackinnon at that time. What was that like, Ikaika?
It was exciting, and it was something that I had always looked forward to as a younger junior player in the junior school. I couldn't wait till I got my shot to join the varsity team once I was in high school. And it didn't let down. It was a lot of fun from the very beginning. I remember making the team as a freshman and going through that grueling tryout process. And when you grow up playing tennis, you don't always get to play players that are maybe 2 divisions ahead of you. So it was the first time you'd really get to play players that are juniors and seniors in high school too. So that was a challenge and something I really embrace and look forward to. And you brought up Mike Mackinnon, he was a senior on my team at the time. I was a freshman, and he was the top player on the team. And yeah, he was a great mentor and someone I looked up to. And I just had great practices with him, and eventually we had some great matches together. But yeah, I just remember him being a very strong player and fiery, but also had great sportsmanship. And so it was someone I tried to model myself after as I came up through the ranks.
And just to let you know, Punahou also currently runs a junior tournament called the Mike Mackinnon Junior Tournament, which is a special event that not only honors Mike Mackinnon's name, guys, and what he was about, but it's a chance for juniors to go out there and put themselves in the same shoes as these guys right here, like Ikaika, and play junior tennis, if not for the first time in tournaments, but also under a great atmosphere that was represented by a great guy. Which, by the way, guys, the Michael Mackinnon Fund also exists, and it's a scholarship fund stewarded by Punahou to actually help scholarship kids to be able to play tennis and go to college in the future, guys. If you want to donate to the Michael Mackinnon Fund, contact Ikaika Jobe for that. That's really cool that even you had the stepping grounds that were needed in order to make that next level of juniors, which eventually leads you to playing college tennis. Ikaika, not many people may know, but you actually played for 2 different colleges, if I remember correctly. Can you share with us a little bit about that experience playing college ball right after high school?
Yeah, that's right. So I initially earned a scholarship to play at St. Louis University in Missouri. It's a private school out there. And I chose that school for the academic portion, which was my major was going to be aviation science / professional pilot. So I would essentially be flying planes to earn my degree. And while I was up there, I got my private pilot's license and my instrument rating. So that was a lot of work, but also a lot of fun and a great experience. I had played number one for St. Louis University since I was a freshman, essentially when I got there. And so I got to play a lot of great competition against the other teams. But I knew I wanted to do something more. I wanted to play pro after college. So somewhere during my third year, I thought, in order to make that jump, I need to be challenged a bit more. So I knew the coach at Boise State University, and his name was Greg Patton. He's a pretty famous college coach, also known as the General. And he invited me to come on board, join his team. And so I had the opportunity to transfer after my junior year and join the Boise State Broncos in Boise, Idaho. And that was a lot of fun. A new experience, new teammates, left on good terms with my last team, and just really embraced it. And it really helped me grow as a player. And I think Coach Patton's style of coaching was very motivating, and he's really known for bringing out the best in his players. So it was just so much fun, high energy, and playing with a great team there at Boise.
But you did mention your goal, which was you wanted to get to the pros and play pro tennis, and Boise in particular seemed like it got you that last little bit you needed to get to where you wanted to go. Thus begun Ikaika Jobe, the pro tennis player, that part of your life. As a lot of people will come to know now that, you've reached that and kind of helped pave the way really for a lot of the juniors after your time to then believe, like even someone like Dennis Lahola later on, who then goes and achieves stuff because a Hawaii player has been there and done it before. Ikaika, I know it's been a while since then, but what was it like making that transition from college to the pros, and some of your best memories maybe along the way, living the dream that a lot of young boys in particular want to do on the ATP Tour?
Yeah, it was exciting, but it was also scary at the same time. After college, you see a lot of your friends going off to take on jobs, internships, start their careers. And so as exciting as it was to go and play some tennis, I was also in the back of my head thinking, oh, I'm going to be a little behind, after all this if it doesn't work out. But yeah, I was super excited for the opportunity. So I decided to go the pro route. So my father helped me with that. I thank him very much for that opportunity. And I decided to move to Miami, Florida, to be around the hotbed of tennis. Just a lot of tennis players down there, academies, easy place to travel to and from Europe. And the coach I had contacts with there that was going to help me out, his name was Tariq Benabiles. He's a former pro French player. He was known for bringing Andy Roddick through the ranks as a junior, bringing Roddick to number one in the world. So it's a great opportunity to work with him and all his network down there. Some of my hitting partners was Ivo Karlovic. Some of you guys might know him as Dr. Evo, 6'10", ace serving machine. Funny thing is, I never got to really return his serve because that's not something he needed to work on. So spent a lot of time doing other things with him, but that was a great experience nonetheless. Notable player I was a hitting partner with was Justine Henin, former number one player in the world. She had lost early at the Key Biscayne tournament on hard court and wanted to start training for the clay season. So I spent a week with her training on the clay. But yeah, that was my starting point. From there, I think one of the first futures events I decided to play was down in Venezuela. I also traveled to Egypt for a month to play some tournaments there, and that was a whole new set of experiences. I got to see the pyramids, so that was really cool. Oftentimes when you go to these tournaments, you don't always get to do the touristy things, but sometimes you do. And then part of my plan playing pro tournaments is I wanted to go to places that I might not go to later in life. So maybe they might not be the big time attractions as tourist spots, but smaller areas, smaller countries. That's often where the futures events were anyway. So yeah, when I went to Europe, I ended up going to places like Poland, Lithuania, Finland, places like that. Yeah, I also went off to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Indonesia, Japan. Indonesia, I actually met up with an old junior tennis player from Hawaii, a friend of mine, Brad Tucker, and we turned that one into a little bit of a surf trip because we had a tournament in Bali. So we went down there, played an event. We actually won a doubles tournament there, Brad Tucker and I. So it was a double bonus. We got to win a tournament and surf some waves.
I remember at one point we also talked about something called club tennis, which was in the country of Germany that you were staying in at one point. What was that exactly, Ikaika, that you were doing out there during your days in the pros?
Yeah, club tennis is a team competition between clubs in Europe, and it's a pretty popular thing up there. After college, some people go up and play, and a lot of the European players go back to their tennis clubs and compete on their teams. And some of these teams bring in outside players from different countries. And so I was recruited to play on a German club tennis team. This was located in Stuttgart, Germany. And they pay you to play. So it's kind of cool because you don't have to go through a tournament, win rounds to earn money. You actually get paid each match you're playing, and I got a place to stay. So one summer I got to kind of base myself out of Stuttgart, Germany. And I was up there because of one of my teammates was from the area, and it was his club. So we both got to play, both got to travel around to tournaments in the vicinity. So I was very lucky to have that experience, and I highly recommend it to aspiring players that want to play pro or, just spend a summer in Europe competing hard. I remember while I was doing club tennis, there was the Mercedes Cup event that's also held in the nearby area in Germany. So I remember going there to watch some players, and one of my coaches that I work with in Miami was there with Gael Monfils. I think a lot of people would know who that is. He's still competing and one of the most fun players to watch, I think. So I had the opportunity to be Gael Monfils' hitting partner for the week because my coach was there, but he had pulled his hamstring, so he needed a hitting partner. And so that was a lot of fun getting to warm him up for his matches, do some practices. And he was a really nice guy. He really liked to have fun in his practices, and it was a great experience.
That is such an adventure, Ikaika. Gosh, getting to travel worldwide to play tennis. There's a lot of kids that they dream of something like that. I used to dream about that, and still do at times. But, it's really cool to know a Hawaii-born guy has done it. And just what a journey that must have been, which, of course, I'm sure equipped you and helped you out for coming back. And now you can say dominating at a world-class name at the Kailua Men's Night Doubles, aka the Grand Slam of Hawaii. Ikaika, you've had many incredible years over there and so many memorable matches for that matter. You've, I believe, won 5 championships over there. But enough about the accolades. I want to hear about Ikaika, the tennis player at the night doubles. If you remember any of those matches in particular, years you played, including the first time, what was it like, Ikaika, playing in the night doubles then and to playing in the night doubles now?
The night doubles has always been a big tournament to me. It's always something I look forward to, not only as a player, but as a spectator too. So my initial experiences with Kailua Night Doubles was going there and watching the matches as a younger kid. And, there's a lot of top players that used to come through and play that back in the day. So that was also very inspiring. And I think the first time I got to play it might have been my senior year or freshman year of college. I think it was my senior year, but as a junior, you don't get to play it. Play that tournament because it's kind of at the same time as Kalamazoo, the big nationals. So
that's right.
Yeah, so I remember playing one of the first years, I think was with Paer. We had a good run through the qualifying and maybe won a round in the main draw. A few years later, partnered up with Brad Tucker. I think that was 2004. We had just won, I think it was the Hawaii sectionals, men's sectionals. And we still weren't seated at the night doubles tournament. So we had to go through qualifying, had some tough matches back in the qualifying draw. And then we slowly but surely worked our way through the main draw all the way to the finals. So we had got to the finals from the qualifying. I think we're the first and last team to have done that. We lost a tough one in the finals back when it was 3 out of 5 sets. So even though we lost that, it was still, really memorable because I was so young and still playing a lot of the college guys back then. Then years later down the road, Brad and I played again, and we ended up winning the tournament. I think we played Mike Brueggemann and Eric Chen in the finals, and I think they had won it the 2 years prior or something like that. That was when I was still in college, so unfortunately I couldn't take the prize money at that time. Eventually came back to play it years afterwards, after the pros with Dennis Lahola. Those were some fun years. We ended up winning it 4 times together. Probably the most memorable experience was when we ended up in the final set tiebreaker. I think it was against Mata and Tribler. I remember, for some reason, I remember the first point of the tiebreaker. They hit a great serve down the middle of the court. I barely got my racket on it to hit a lob. And I think it was Mata missed the overhead into the net. And he dropped down immediately and did 5 to 10 push-ups, which I thought was kind of funny. But that kind of set the tone for the rest of the tiebreaker. And we were lucky to come away with that tiebreaker win and ultimately the championship. But so many great memories playing with Dennis Lahola as well. He, at that time he was fresh out of college or in college and playing just some lights out tennis. So it was just so much fun being able to ride his coattails, I guess, and be able to kind of put the ball away when he would hit a good shot, finisher.
Though, you've had so many runs, though, with Dennis and including Brad when you were over there. Is there any, I know it's probably a hard question, but is there any particular, match that you played there that stands out to you will never forget, or any particular, championship run, or what are your thoughts on that?
Gosh, it's hard to pick one match out of all of those. It's really the whole experience together every year. It's just, and it all kind of blends together. It's just such a high energy event. The experiencers are all so memorable, but I would have to pick a time where it's maybe not necessarily a time where we won a match, but when I played with Jesse Paer, I think it was the first year we played together, and we were trying to make our way through the main draw, and we came up against Eric Sandblom and Dauda Ndiaye. Dauda was the BYU Hawaii's #1 player. And Eric Sandblom was a former HPU star that, would win all the tournaments in Hawaii to that point. And we gave them a good run for their money, but they ended up beating us and ended up winning the tournament. But for some reason, that match really sticks in my mind.
And I forgot to mention earlier, he also was an assistant coach for the University of Hawaii, Manoa, when Dennis Lahola was actually playing. I think that's how they met for the first time. But, you've done so much, Ikaika, up to that point. And then you even started dabbling in lessons and working with kids. And here you are now, the director of tennis for your alma mater, your high school alma mater. What's that been like, in a way, Ikaika, to go full circle like that and now come back and coach and help kids, I'm sure just like you, at the very school that you played for at one point?
Yeah, Shane, it's an honor. I feel very, very fortunate to be back at Punahou. And, tennis is just something that I always kept doing. While I was at UH, I was actually in law school. So, I went on to become a lawyer and kept coaching tennis, on the side, and, found my way back to a full-time position in tennis. So was very lucky to get back to Punahou. Also, just having the opportunity to give back to a school and a program that gave so much to me, and then be able to inspire the next generation or generations of players that come out of Punahou, but also just out of Hawaii. Our programs here we also invite non-Punahou students to train with. So I really like that opportunity, being able to grow the game locally and giving a lifetime sport to our students that come out of our programs. So, we're so lucky at Punahou to be able to introduce the game to hundreds of kids each year. I really want them to take this sport with them throughout their life, at whatever level. they're going to play at, because there's just so much to learn, so much character building that goes on, and so many great relationships and growth as a person and a teammate. So yeah, just so stoked to be back at Punahou.
Do you see in any of those kids, maybe Ikaika, the same twinkle in their eye with tennis that maybe you had back then? Did any of those kids kind of remind you of you back in the day?
Oh yeah, I see so many things that remind me of what I used to do, or habits that I've seen in other players. And I really love watching the disciplined, very passionate players. I consider myself to be a very passionate player. So when the students come along and they're very passionate about the game and fully immersed in their practices, their matches, that really gets me fired up, and it's an enjoyable experience when you get that opportunity.
Well, Ikaika, that's so cool that you've been doing that, and just good stuff. Seeing you, go full circle. Say you've done almost everything in tennis, and you're back here giving back to your community, as well as the Punahou Hana, which I'm sure they're extremely thankful to have someone like you at the helm. And Ikaika, I really do wish you the best moving forward, as a USPTA pro like myself, but also, working with your alma mater, representing maybe, if not, the greatest junior tennis program in all of Hawaii right now, which, is so special. Don't go anywhere, because we have one more segment to go. And like the other interviews, it's the rapid fire questions. You've probably seen enough already. You know the drill. You know what questions are going to come up. But Ikaika, we all want to know what you would be thinking about it. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, right on. Ikaika Jobe, what's your favorite color?
Buff and blue.
Blue. Oh, man. Punahou Buff N Blue. Awesome. Favorite music artist?
I'm going to go with Blink 182.
No way. That's actually my favorite band. That is so awesome. Role model growing up. Who was your biggest role model?
I would say my father and Michael Jordan.
Ooh, right on. Two awesome role models. I've actually met his dad too, by the way, guys. Awesome dude. Racket of choice. Ikaika, what's the racket you play with?
Currently, it is the Yonex E-Zone 98.
You said a certain player uses that racket as well, right? Who would that be?
There's a few players that use that racket, but most notable are Naomi Osaka and Nick Kyrgios.
Favorite movie? Do you have a favorite movie, Ikaika?
The Princess Bride.
Really? Interesting. Why is that your favorite?
Oh, it's a classic, and just a lot of laughs and adventure.
Most memorable Hawaii tennis experience? I'm sure you've had a lot, but does any one particular thing stand out as a player in Hawaii?
I would say the state championships on Kauai. That really stands out. I think it was the same year they had to shorten the format of the tournament. That was, I think, my freshman year as well. So, of course, the freshman year stands out.
Favorite hair product? Do you have a hair product, Ikaika? I know Michael Yanni did, and that surprised me a bit. Do you have one?
I don't have much use for hair products anymore, but, I would say I used to use the American Crew pomade. So,
favorite Hawaii tennis courts? Where do you like to go play?
Oh, I would have to say Punahou School.
Favorite beach? Do you have a favorite beach, Ikaika?
Favorite beach growing up was Sandy's. Spent a lot of time there. Sandy Beach.
Favorite place to eat?
Outrigger Canoe Club.
What should we get over there, Ikaika, if one day we went there or got takeout?
I would say the Mahi.
Singles or doubles? What would you rather play, Ikaika?
Doubles these days. Yeah, I like the team aspect and having a partner out there.
Favorite hobby other than tennis?
I would say basketball. Yeah, like I said, I still compete in an outside league, the Lawyer League, so I love playing basketball.
Favorite pro tennis player of all time?
But I'd have to go with Roger Federer.
Roger Federer. Enough said, guys. Drop the mic. Favorite Grand Slam? Which one do you like to watch the most?
It'd have to be Wimbledon. It's just so unique with the grass and tradition. in history.
If you had to give one tip to an aspiring junior player or a total beginner to the game, what would Coach Ikaika tell them?
I would tell them to commit to the process, trust the process, get yourself good coaches that you trust, and have a long-term vision. And as you're making your way to the mainland to play tournaments, you also need to believe that you belong there.
Ikaika, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate your time here. I like to leave things open for closing thoughts. You have the floor. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Hawaii tennis community out there, your former collegiate teammates, night doubles teammates, the staff at Punahou? Any closing thoughts?
I'd just like to say thanks again, Shane, for having me on your show. And, thank you to everyone that's been a part of my tennis journey, and those that will continue to be part of this journey going forward. So tennis is just a great sport that we can all continue to enjoy as our lives go on, and hopefully we can all build our relationships and grow as people.
Thank you so much, Ikaika, for joining us today. I really appreciate your time here. Just cruising and reminiscing of old stories, but also where you've come from and where you are now. Just thank you for chilling with us today and sharing your journey, your story.
All right. Well, thanks for having me here, Shane. It's been a pleasure, and I hope this story can help other junior players dream of their tennis careers.
Right on. That's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today on Tennis Ninja TV. I hope, again, you guys got something out of this. Enjoyed talking story, hanging out with us today. If you want to follow Ikaika, guys, when these tournaments start firing up again, get yourself out there, maybe one of the men's night doubles, and go watch them play. As well, guys, please go out and play. Like I said, the courts are open again on Oahu. Hallelujah. Get out your racket, get some balls, support the local shops, get some gear, and go hit. Guys, Tennis Ninja, like I said before, if you support Tennis Ninja, you're supporting tennis. Hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more of this in the future. Until then, guys, God bless, be safe, and aloha.